It's a family thing, Emma. You get it, right? Those 6 words broke something inside me that can never be fixed. My name is Emma Thompson. I'm 20 years old, living in Chicago, and I just discovered I'm basically a stranger to my own blood. I'd worked 3 jobs to save $22,000 for that cruise to Alaska. I thought watching whales together would help us heal after Dad lost his job. Instead, they sailed away without me. No phone call, no explanation, just Instagram photos of them smiling on the deck. 4 years of grinding. $85,000 VANISHED. Rent, car payments, my sister's wedding, Dad's dental surgery. I believed if I sacrificed enough, they'd finally value me. But that voicemail proved something brutal. I wasn't their daughter. I was their personal bank with legs. This time, I wouldn't apologize or explain myself. Have you ever been treated like you don't matter by the people who should protect you? Share your truth in the comments. Someone scrolling right now needs to hear they're not alone. If my own family could throw me away like garbage, then I'd learn to stand alone and stand proud. That night, Chicago wind howled outside my studio apartment. I sat cross-legged on my bedroom floor, laptop glowing in the dark, staring at numbers that made me feel sick. My bank app was open. 22,000 for their luxury cruise. 63,000 more spread across 4 years. Rent checks, insurance premiums, restaurant bills, even groceries for their house while I ate ramen for dinner. Every transaction was proof that I loved people who didn't love me back. I scrolled through payment after payment after payment. 450 here for their water heater, 700 there for unexpected expenses. Each one stole a piece of my soul and my savings account. I'd skipped meals so they could go to fancy steakhouses. I'd walk to work in the snow so Dad could drive my old car. And while I froze and starved, they were booking a trip and ERASING me from it. Mom didn't apologize. Dad didn't check on me. My sister Jessica acted like I didn't even exist. In that crushing silence, the truth hit me like a train. I wasn't their child. I was their emergency fund with a heartbeat. I stared at my reflection in the dark laptop screen. The woman staring back looked hollow. Not hollow from exhaustion, but hollow from pouring love into people who only saw dollar signs. I grabbed my phone and called my accountant, Miss Patricia Green. She answered on the second ring. "Patricia, I need an emergency meeting tomorrow at 9, I said, and this time my voice was steel. "I'll be there," she replied quietly. "We'll fix this mess together." When the call ended, something shifted inside me. I wasn't the desperate, begging daughter anymore. I was the woman who finally realized love can't be purchased with credit cards and wire transfers. I'd spent 4 years trying to buy belonging. Tomorrow, I'd start building independence. 6 weeks later, my phone rang with Jessica's name flashing. Her calls used to mean sister gossip and inside jokes. Now they just meant someone needed money. "Emma," she said, voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Mom and Dad's car broke down. They need $3,000 for repairs. Can you send it by Friday?" Her tone was so practiced, so mechanical, like she'd used this exact script on me 100 times. I didn't hesitate for even 1 second. "Family only, remember." Dead silence. Then a forced laugh. "Emma, seriously, don't be ridiculous. We're family. Stop being dramatic." Her voice had that manipulation mixed with guilt, but this time I saw right through it like glass. For the first time in years, I understood what was really happening. They didn't love me. They loved my bank account. "Find someone else to use," I said calmly, and I hung up before she could say another word. My hands trembled, but not from fear or sadness, from power. I yanked open my laptop and pulled up my banking dashboard. Those automatic monthly payments glared at me like prison bars keeping me trapped. 500 every month for their rent, 250 for Jessica's student loans, 100 for their streaming services and phone plan. I deleted every single one. Each time the screen said auto payment removed, I felt chains falling off my wrists. When the last payment disappeared, I actually laughed out loud. I wasn't their backup plan anymore. I wasn't their safety net. I was free. Then I called Miss Patricia again. "Patricia, I need to completely lock my accounts. No family access whatsoever." She didn't ask why or make me explain. She understood. "Come in at 11 this morning," she said. "We'll build a fortress around your money." At her office, documents covered the entire table. New account numbers, new passwords, fingerprint security, email alerts for every single login attempt. "You're taking your power back," Patricia said, looking me straight in the eyes. "That takes courage." For the first time in 6 weeks, I felt myself smile, a real smile. It takes being tired of being used. While I signed paper after paper, I thought about all the times I'd tried to buy their love with silence, with money, with just accepting horrible treatment. Never again. Not in this lifetime. When I walked out of that office building, Chicago smelled different, fresher, cleaner. Like rain washing away dirt. The city pulsed with life around me. Taxis honking, people rushing to meetings, a man selling flowers on the corner. It sounded like freedom calling my name. For the first time ever, I wasn't calculating what I owed or who needed what. Every step forward felt lighter, like gravity itself was celebrating with me. I caught my reflection in a coffee shop window. The girl staring back wasn't defeated anymore. She was rising from the ashes, breath by breath, choice by choice. I wasn't begging for scraps of affection anymore. I was guarding my peace like a treasure. I slipped my new bank card into my wallet, and with it, the old Emma, the pushover, the ATM machine, the fool, began to die. They'd built their comfortable lives on MY's sacrifice. Now they'd learned to build it themselves. 2 days later, heavy footsteps echoed in my apartment hallway, multiple voices, aggressive knocking. I looked through my door camera and my blood went cold. My parents, Jessica, and some man in an expensive suit carrying a leather briefcase. My doorbell rang like an alarm, over and over and over. My pulse was racing. This wasn't a surprise visit. This was an ambush. I cracked the door open just enough to see their faces. "Emma, we need to talk right now," Jessica demanded, using her bossy voice. The suit guy stepped forward like he owned the place. "I'm Mr. Harrison, attorney representing the Thompson family," he announced like he was somebody important. "Your family is concerned about your erratic financial decisions." "Erratic," I said. Keeping my face blank and emotionless, he adjusted his expensive tie. "They'd like to address your family obligations." Obligations. That word felt like a slap across my face. Jessica put her hands on her hips. "You can't just cut us off, Emma. We're your family. You have a responsibility." Mom nodded eagerly. "You've always helped us, sweetheart. Don't abandon us now when we need you most." Dad finally looked at me, but his eyes were empty. "We can't make it without your help," he said flatly. "Just think about what you're doing." The air felt thick with manipulation and emotional blackmail. The same old game, just with a lawyer as a prop. But I wasn't playing anymore. I stood taller. "I don't owe you a single penny," I said, my voice quiet but strong. "You proved that when you left me behind on that cruise." Jessica's face twisted with anger. "You're being a selfish brat." Mr. Harrison cleared his throat dramatically. "Miss Thompson, we can pursue this through legal channels if you refuse to cooperate." "Then see me in court," I said, and I slammed the door in all their shocked faces. I could hear them arguing outside, voices getting louder and angrier, but I didn't care about a single word. I turned the deadbolt. That click was the sound of me choosing myself. My phone started buzzing. Private number. I sent it to voicemail. It rang again immediately. Finally, I answered. "Chicago Home Defense," a cheerful woman said. "You requested a quote for security upgrades yesterday." Yes, I'd called them after the first threatening text from Jessica. "Can you come install everything today?" I asked. "We can have a team there by 3, she confirmed. At 3:30, a woman named Lisa arrived with her partner carrying toolboxes. "Upgrading security?" she asked, examining my flimsy door. "You could say that," I replied. They worked like professionals. Heavy-duty deadbolt, smart doorbell camera, window sensors, motion-activated lights for the hallway. "Anyone comes near your door, you'll know instantly," Lisa explained. I watched the camera's red light blink to life. It looked like protection, like safety, like a shield between me and people who wanted to hurt me. After they left, I locked the door and leaned against it. For several long minutes, my apartment was perfectly, beautifully silent. No guilt trips, no demands, no manipulation. Outside, Chicago rain began tapping against the windows, steady and soothing. Each drop rolled down the glass like tears. I didn't have to cry anymore. They'd brought a lawyer to intimidate me. That wasn't love. That was war. They wanted to break me down, but all they did was make me stronger than ever. 5 weeks later, I walked through the doors of Cook County Courthouse. Cold tile floors, serious security guards, the echo of other people's legal battles. Today was mine. Mr. Stephen Carter, my attorney, waited near the courtroom entrance. "Remember, just be honest and confident," he said softly. "Honesty is your superpower here." On the other side of the room sat my parents and Jessica with Mr. Harrison, all whispering together like conspirators. They looked so formal, so prepared. Like they'd rehearsed their victim act for WEKS. Judge Richard Coleman entered the room. Everyone stood. My heart was pounding like a drum. Mr. Harrison started first. His voice was slick and practiced. Your Honor, Miss Thompson has demonstrated reckless financial behavior. She abruptly abandoned her family responsibilities, creating significant hardship. He gestured toward Jessica dramatically. She dabbed at her dry eyes with a tissue. Emma's changed, she said with fake sadness. She's not thinking clearly. We're worried about her mental state. Mom chimed in. She's always been such a caring girl, but suddenly she's acting irrational. Their words felt like knives, not because they were true, but because I'd once believed these people actually cared whether I lived or died. Mr. Carter rose to his feet slowly, radiating calm confidence. Your Honor, my client is not unstable. She's EMPOWRED. He presented the judge with a massive folder. Inside were my employment records, my performance reviews showing I was Employee of the Month 3 times, my bank statements proving I was financially responsible, my clean background check. Then our expert witness stepped forward. Dr. Helen Brooks, a licensed psychologist. Her voice was calm and authoritative. Miss Thompson is completely competent and mentally healthy. Her choice to establish boundaries is textbook healthy behavior, not instability. Mr. Harrison jumped up. But wouldn't you agree that sudden behavioral changes indicate problems? Sudden boundaries, Dr. Brooks said firmly, indicate growth, not dysfunction. The courtroom went quiet. People were listening, really LISDNNG. Then Judge Coleman looked at me. Miss Thompson, would you like to speak? I stood up. My legs felt shaky, but my voice came out strong. For 4 years, I paid for everything. Their home, their bills, their luxuries. I thought that's what family meant. Giving everything until you have nothing left. I paused, making eye contact with the judge. But when they went on that cruise without me, I realized something important. I wasn't a daughter to them. I was a wallet with feelings they could ignore. I stood straighter. Protecting myself isn't cruel, it's necessary. Mr. Harrison objected loudly. This is emotional manipulation, Your Honor. Judge Coleman held up his hand. Overruled, I'll allow it. Everything else became a blur. Closing statements, the shuffle of papers, the hum of fluorescent lights above. When Judge Coleman finally spoke, his voice cut through the room like a sword. The plaintiffs have presented no credible evidence of incompetence or mental instability. This case is DISMISSED. Relief flooded through my entire body. Pure, beautiful relief that made my knees weak. Across the courtroom, Jessica's face turned red with anger. Dad stared at his shoes. Mom looked like she'd been punched. Mr. Carter leaned close to me. You just won your freedom back, he whispered. Outside the courthouse, winter sunlight broke through Chicago's gray clouds, turning the snow into diamonds. For MONTHS, I'd been drowning in their demands. Now I could finally breathe. This wasn't just a legal victory. This was me reclaiming my life. Standing on those courthouse steps, Chicago's cold wind hit my face, but I was grinning like crazy. They tried to destroy me with lawyers and lies, and I proved I was unbreakable. 5 months after that courtroom victory, I stood in my beautiful new apartment, watching Lake Michigan sparkle in the distance like liquid sapphire. Everything felt different here. Lighter, calmer. No more paranoid looks through peepholes or sleeping with one eye open. Just MY space. Mine alone. The apartment was simple, but it felt like a palace. I made myself coffee, and the smell wrapped around me like a warm hug. Tiny moments felt massive now. I'd spent the whole weekend decorating. Bookshelves organized by color, succulents on the windowsill, and one framed photo of me hiking alone in the mountains, completely free. I kept it as my reminder. Never sacrifice yourself for people who don't see your worth. My phone dinged. My real best friend Hannah sent a message. Brunch tomorrow. I want to celebrate the new you. I actually laughed out loud. She'd been my rock when my family turned into enemies. Now she wanted to toast to my independence. The next day, over waffles and orange juice, Hannah raised her glass high. To the BRAVSD person I know, she declared. I touched my glass to hers. The clink sounded like pure joy. No guilt attached. No strings pulling me backward. I told her about my future plans. A solo backpacking trip through Europe next fall. Photography classes starting next month. A savings account I named Dreams I Actually Get to Live. Finally, every dollar I earned had meaning, and it served me. Sometimes my mind wandered back to my family. Through mutual friends, I'd heard Jessica was working 2 retail jobs now. My parents had to sell their house and move into a small apartment. They were learning what real life felt like without using me as a crutch. I didn't celebrate their struggles, but I also didn't feel guilty anymore. Not even a little bit. Standing by my floor-to-ceiling windows that night, I reflected on everything they'd tried to take from me. My money, my confidence, my voice, my future. And how standing up for myself gave me back the most precious thing of all, my self-respect. I spoke out loud to my empty, peaceful apartment. My value was never theirs to decide. Outside, snow started falling over Chicago. Gentle, pure, covering everything in fresh white, starting everything over. You don't owe loyalty to people who see you as a resource to drain. If you've ever had to cut off family just to survive and thrive, drop your story below. Someone reading this right now needs to know they made the right choice. And if this story resonated with your soul, smash that like button, subscribe to Iron Revenge, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. You're not alone in choosing yourself. Welcome to the community that celebrates your strength.